I think the thumbnail of this video is a perfect representation of how I feel about some of the events that happened in this episode of Kiss Him Not Me. And I'm gonna be honest, I am a little bit salty because of some of the things that happened in this episode, and the reason for it was because of a character called Nana. Now, I think I made it very clear how I feel about some of the main male characters of this series since the first episode. Some of the characters I just straight up dislike because of how they treated our main female character since the first episode, and then all of a sudden she becomes very beautiful and pretty, and then they start treating her with respect, which I thought was just very, very fucked up. It was a fucked up way to treat someone. So you're telling me if they look ugly, you have all rights to make fun of them, but then once they get completely beautified and they look beautiful, you'll just treat them like, you know, a good person and stuff. It's fucked up the way some of the characters, you know, treated our main female character. And as I said after that episode, there is possibility for these characters that treated our main female character with no respect at all, that they could possibly go through some development, reflect on their actions, and realize what they have done wrong when they were trying to get to know her. And this episode was the perfect episode to do just that. Allow a character to reflect on their actions and allow them to see how much of a bitch they were being when they first met the main female character. And this episode was focused on one of those characters, Nana. And after watching this episode, my hatred for the character Nana grew even more because of some of the things that happened in this episode. Let's talk about the foundation blocks, okay, of this episode and what it was trying to do. It was a Nana-themed, you know, episode, trying to focus on him and his relationship with our main female character, and how he realizes his, you know, chance of being in the lead is just growing further and further away from him. He's no longer in the spotlight, he is no longer one of the tops, which he never was to begin with because of how much of an asshole he was, but he's no longer in the lead, nobody's really thinking he is, and he realizes he's no longer in the lead either, so he's like, I need to do something. And so throughout majority of this episode, you see him trying to figure out a way to get closer to the main female character and allow him to, you know, actually be in a relationship or something with her, because as we know, a lot of our characters throughout the series, like, you know, her harem, our main female character's harem, they all want to get with her in some way. I mean, Senpai had his moments in last week's episode, which is fucking awesome, because, you know, Senpai, out of all the characters, he's my favorite. He definitely is pretty much my favorite male character of this series, just because of the way he treated her since the first episode. But in this, he's trying to figure out a way to get closer to her, and eventually it leads him to being in a play with our main female character. And overall, on paper, it seems very ordinary, nothing too out of the ordinary. It just seems like a standard thing you would see in a slice of life comedy series, trying to do a play or something, and then also they threw in, you know, how the, you know, main male character, one of them, got sick. Nana got sick, he needed to be taken care of, then eventually it led into some form of drama, which that drama, the way it unfolded, actually, I gotta say, that was very surprising the way it was done, and I actually respect this series for handling a topic like that, which I will get into, but right now I want to focus on Nana as a character before I get into, you know, what that scene meant, like the meaning behind it. So, in these moments throughout the episode, the foundation of it, him trying to get closer, you know, he gets sick, and eventually, you know, it leads it to where he makes an accident, he does something very wrong, and he upsets our main female character. She grows distant, and, you know, it's the typical drama you would see in, like, a romance show or something. They grow distant, and then eventually they make it up in the end. Everything is fine in the end. And that's kind of how the foundation of the episode is. Just to get simple, like, straight to the point, that's kind of what the episode was about. About a play, and then, you know, going to the play, and then just everybody having a happy ending at the end of the day, while, you know, Nana got closer to the main female character. So, looking at it like that, the potential of this episode was completely lost. Now, I don't know. Personally, I haven't asked the manga readers of this series, so I'm unaware, but this episode felt rushed to me. It honestly felt like some things were cut in this episode, or some things felt a little bit too fast-paced because of all the events happening in this episode, and I'm kind of unaware if it was fast-paced or not, like, you know, cutting and rushing things, because as we know, when it comes to anime adaptations of manga or even light novels, things tend to get cut, skipped, or even changed completely where it becomes anime original, and honestly, I haven't actually asked manga readers how is Kiss Him Not Me doing in terms of an adaptation, and so I'm going to ask right now to all of you manga readers that watch these videos, if there is any of you, maybe all of your anime onlys, but if there's any manga readers that watch Kiss Him Not Me, but also are watching this video right now, please let me know, was this episode rushed or was it not? Please honestly be truthful in the comments below, because I'm very curious about that, because if so, there is a potential possibility they could have cut in character development, characterization, because I feel after watching this episode, a lot of potential is lost for Nana in his development. As I said, he was a character since the very beginning I've kind of disliked. He's just an asshole. The way he treated our main female character, I just did not like him. And at the end of the day, when it comes to this episode too, I didn't like him. I actually dislike him even more now after watching this episode, because none of that potential development even took place at all. But also on top of that, he did things in this episode that was just outright just scummy as fuck. And the way it was tried to be written to make it seem like everything was fine, I just completely disliked that. So that leads into the scene that I said I would talk about earlier, I'll talk about now. So when Nana was sick and he was having a fever, and our main female character was taking care of him, she comes in, and then all of a sudden, he grabs her, forces her down, and it looks like pretty much a rape scene. That's the best way I can kind of say it. It looked like he was trying to kiss her, snuggle up too close to her. It looked like he was just about to do, like some form of rape to her. And I guess if you do look at it, he kind of did that. He did get a kiss on her, and it made her very uncomfortable. And this scene was completely brushed aside rather quickly. I mean, there was a little bit of drama, but it was brushed to the side rather quickly because we saw that he was just in a daze because of his cold, and then he tried to kiss his guy friend and everything was fine. He was trying to kiss Igarashi and everything would have been fine right then and there. And that's how many of us would have accepted that. Like, oh, there was a little bit of drama, he was just in a daze, and so that makes up for all the stuff he was trying to do to our main female character. But in reality, I disagree with that. It makes the character even more scummy when I look at it like this because, for one, he did not reflect on his actions of how he treated her in the beginning of the series. Number two, doing this just makes me dislike him even more. Even if it was trying to be explained in a way that, oh, he was going to do it to anyone that walked in, I still dislike his character even more after that. And then on top of that, just the way none of that was taking place towards the end of the episode, and it just seemed like they grew closer because of it. I'm like, oh, this is just annoying to see this character that is just being let off so easy, like everything is fine, like he has redeeming, qualities to him. I'm like, no, he does not. I mean, if there's one thing I could commend the man for, he is a good brother. Okay, I will commend the man for that. He is a good brother. He is a good brother to his little sister. There you go. I said it. I'll say he has one good redeeming quality. He is a good brother. Besides that, however, I wouldn't even necessarily call him a good friend. I mean, you gotta think about it like this. I mean, he might be good friend, but depending on how you look, he might make fun of you. So he's kind of an asshole right off the bat. Now, depending on the friends, or depending how you are, now, the relationship between friends are, sometimes friends, show their friendship by being assholes to each other. I mean, that happens all the time. So, I mean, I don't know. But judging by the way he acted in the first episode, he seems like someone that's just straight up an asshole, depending on how your appearance is or whatever, and then how he was, doing in this episode, just like, eh. So, yeah, I mean, personally, not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of Nana, even more after this episode. He's just an ass. I just dislike him. I really do. And, I mean, the only good thing about him is that he's a good brother. And that's all I will say. So, besides that, however, I guess the episode, it was interesting with the way it, kind of handled the theme of the rape. That's something I want to talk about, like the meaning, like the message behind it. So, anyone notice there was a quick segment? It wasn't really focused on long, which I'm kind of upset about. I wish it would have been, the primary focus of this episode, because it could have led into something very different from what you would normally see from any of these type of scenes. After Nana forces our main female character down on the bed, and, he kisses her, and he gets very uncomfortable for her, and she runs off, she goes home, and she shuts herself off from everybody for a while. And she reads BL comics, manga, and so she's reading all that, and when she's reading, it's like, it feels so different when it's actually being done in real life compared to how manga is, when I see these scenes in, BL manga, and I'm like, holy shit, is the character actually saying how weird it is for stuff like this to be a manga, but, like, it seems fine in manga, but then people think it should be like that in actual real life, but in reality, it's not. I'm like, holy shit, is this character going through some form of development? I'm like that? I'm like, I did not expect a theme like that, like an uncomfortable theme like that, to be kind of displayed and then kind of be showcased, become front and center of this episode. And as I said, I'm kind of disappointed it wasn't the main focus. I felt like that should have been the primary focus of this episode, not the play, not even Nana. I felt like it should have been the primary focus of, the main female character realizing not everything is going to be like BL. Like, she wants, a life or a world like that to be on the sidelines, but stuff like that doesn't happen. It does not happen. I mean, that's all just a fantasy, and that's all it will be at the end of the day, some of the things that she wants to have. And so when you think about it like that, you're like, holy shit, with her realizing that, like, that reflection, self-reflection and all that, I'm like, damn, I would love to see more of that. So that's why I'm asking, was this episode rushed? Because there's a potential possibility some of these things might have been dived into a little bit more, but I don't really know, because anime only. So that's about it. I want to end this video here. Let me honestly know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.